Welcome back to Seton Hill University, where we have been interviewing authors all day long. Heidi's back with us for our interviews, and Matt Betts, you have dared to join us on Going Live twice now.
You make it sound like a bad thing. You've been interviewing authors all day today. Like,
it is kind of tiresome.
Yeah, we are kind of hard to talk to.
Yeah, I feel for publishers. And that doesn't. Most people normally don't.
That's right. Right. Yeah.
Also joining us, Heidi.
We have Tim Waggoner, and both of these guys are from Ohio, so Pennsylvanians don't hold that against them.
Right. That's right.
I think there's less of an Ohio-PA rivalry.
There is, yeah.
Was
yeah,
with the Brown Steelers.
The Michigan, Ohio is the big rivalry that we worry about.
Yeah, we fight with the Ravens now, so it's a little bit.
Well, we did for a while too when they went to Baltimore.
Sure.
Ohio was not thrilled about that. So.
And now just no one's thrilled with the Ravens. So.
Nobody really talks about them.
That's true. They're a non-entity.
That's right.
I want to, get to your writing because that's why we had you here today.
Gotcha.
And we talked a little bit about your book, Matt, that has recently come out on the last episode or a recent episode that we had. Why don't we start with your recent writings?
Okay. Well, the most recent thing I had come out was a novel set in the continuity of the Supernatural TV series. So it was an original venture of Sam and Dean.
Awesome.
It was a lot of fun to write.
I bet.
And I also had a short story collection called Bone Whispers come out not too long ago.
Because you'll find that Tim is one of the most prolific writers I have ever met. He constantly, and he does lots of tie-ins, which are awesome too, because people absolutely love those.
As a writer, I kind of wonder, was it tough working in their universe, in a different universe?
Well, it depends. On that one, it wasn't because I've watched the show since it came out.
Sure.
The hardest thing about it was being aware of trying to capture the brothers' relationship and their interplay, because for me that's a big part of the series, and it is for the fans.
Sure.
And from the reviews I've seen, they feel like I've done a pretty decent job, so that's good.
And most places they give you like a Bible to work from, sort of their
They
basics.
used to. These days they say no. Go look at the fan wikis.
Oh, yeah.
Because the fans are it's been
That
years
makes
now.
sense.
Yeah,
There's so much information there, and actually the people at the CW like that book well enough. They asked me to do a Choose Your Own Adventure book with
Oh my
Sam
gosh,
Dean,
awesome.
which is coming out. It's called The Road's Not Taken, and that's going to be out in October. And I'd never written a Choose Your Own Adventure book before, so not only was it a lot of fun, it was really hard to try to figure out how do you draft something like that.
I bet. I used to love the G.I. Joe Choose Your Own Adventure books when I was younger. And I was one of those people that I read through to each ending. Yeah.
That's what I hope people will do with this one.
Yeah.
Plus, it was fun because since it was supernatural, the Choose Your Own Adventure actually happens to them. It's not just, it's real. And it's part of the ultimate plot that gets uncovered.
That is awesome.
So it was a lot of fun.
Technically, for something like that, you're writing several stories. You're not just writing one linear story. You're writing stories with so many more potentials that they could go. Wow.
Well, the editors for that one, they had already had it set up. There would be 4 separate stories. So then I created an overall arc for the story. I made up the stories too, but they wanted 4. And then what I had to do is create, the different kind of paths that would branch off from that.
Yeah, that's got to be interesting to do.
Yep, it's a lot of fun.
That should be an exercise. He's a mentor here at Seton Hill as well.
Okay.
There should be a whole course on how to write Choose Your Own Adventure.
That's true. Maybe I'll go ahead and do a module.
That's
I'll
right.
propose a module for that next time.
Whenever Albert Wendland gets on here, the director, we're going to tell him that.
Tell him we have a new module that was uncovered
Exactly.
today.
And he'll be like,
Right, absolutely.
Matt, why don't we recap your recent book?
Well, I've got a book that's coming out. It's for sale here this weekend called Odd Men Out. And it's a blend of a lot of different genres. It's mainly steampunk and alternate history, but it also has a little horror in it as well. That's what we were talking. We had zombies in common here. That's the one thing we've got going on here. But it's an alternate history. It takes place a little bit after the Civil War, where they kind of called a truce because they had to fight zombies. The North and the South are separate states, and they aren't real thrilled with each other, but they sort of keep that peace for a little while to try and fight off the zombies. There's a lot of other things that come their way as you follow this group of soldiers that are sort of supposed to be peacekeepers, called the Odd Men Out, obviously. And they get into all kinds of things as we go along and fight not only human problems but inhuman problems. So, yeah, it's a real fun book to write. And we kind of talked about steampunk last time.
Sure.
Yeah, the idea that technology stops at steam and pretty much everything you have in your universe has to operate on that power. So it's a fun universe to work in.
Now, you mentioned that you both have zombies in common, and Heidi and I were talking before we started to roll, which probably is the most interesting dialogue that happens is what we say between interviews, because we're trying to get caught up real quick. And she said they both have the dead in common, and I said the dead. She said yeah, zombies. I said aren't those undead?
See, I have heard both. I have been corrected that they are not the undead. They're technically the dead. So
we
please,
wanted to
we
go to
wanna
two
know.
experts
Yes.
and see if you could weigh in.
We could always say the things like zombies aren't real, folks.
Yeah, that's
So-
right. That's right there.
You know, but it's so funny how people will argue all the distinctions of this and that, and like they'll say zombies aren't this, and it's like they're not anything. They're not real. We can make up whatever we want, but it does seem like there's the reanimated dead, and then there are humans with some sort of disease that mimics what people think zombies do. You know, would like kill people and eat people.
What kind are yours?
Well, it depends. You know, I have an urban fantasy series called Necropolis, and he's actually a voodoo zombie, and he doesn't eat flesh, because I had originally written it long before the kind of craze came up. And then I have a novel coming out in April 2014 called The Way of All Flesh, and those zombies in that one are diseased people. I mean, they have some kind of something has happened, some kind of plague that has turned them into what they are. But they still are alive, because otherwise you run into a lot of stuff, because dead flesh rots pretty fast, and there's a whole lot of just practical things that risen dead are really cool if they're magic, but if they're scientifically risen dead, they probably wouldn't work very well.
Right. Yeah, and there's that expiration date on them
exactly.
that there's an interest. I don't remember which version it was, but there's some that they go into the mountains to get away from the zombies because the cold kind of stops them. They don't have that blood pumping through their veins or the heart. I don't know how I draw the line. I think I refer to them as the dead rising, but I think I refer to them as undead. I don't have that scientific line drawn, and when you look back in the Civil War era, they don't really get together and say, hey, let's talk about this and figure out exactly what we're going to call these people. We actually call them chewers in the book because of their zombie-like tendencies.
Isn't that kind of an interesting answer to what we thought was a very simple question?
I know they both took that very seriously, but they're right.
We should have both just went undead.
Yeah.
Right.
But I think what's interesting to me is that we kind of classify everything, and I think that's come out of every interview I've done here today, is that someone is trying to put other people's work into a box.
Oh,
Sure.
Okay,
absolutely.
so when you say zombie, we get this picture in our head, and we think that's what it is. But as the writer, you control what a zombie is, or what a chewer is, or
Right.
Right.
So it really is up to the author.
With Brad Pitt's movie coming out now, you have
He
that
is a
discussion.
zombie.
Yeah, he is actually. He's been around for a while. You look back,
Yeah.
he's but
Rotting
they have
flesh,
those
too.
fast-moving zombies. You see 28 days later, 28 weeks later. Those are fast. Not necessarily zombies, but you do. You have people that really
humans,
fight tooth and nail in the
Right.
definition. Those aren't zombies. Those are whatever you want to call them. Those are infected humans. Those are, and people really stick to their definitions, and
Well, it's important because when it really happens, they need to know
right.
what they are
Right,
actually fighting.
when the
So that's
CDC has
what
to
they
start
wanna know.
tagging
Exactly.
people. Yeah, it's.
We do need more distinctions before the zombie apocalypse
Right,
finally comes.
I don't know if they offer a course here at Seton Hill, but maybe
should.
they want to start.
I would imagine
That
they
would be
probably
another
would.
great one.
That
the
could be another
zombie
modular.
apocalypse.
Yeah.
You
We
could
wait
add
till
that in.
Albert Wendland gets on this show.
Well, while the zombie apocalypse isn't going to happen today, to the best of my knowledge, the apocalypse of this interview has come.
We'll talk about the apocalypse.
And so we're going to have to wrap it up. But
All
I
right.
enjoyed being with both of you gentlemen, even if you are from Ohio.
Hey,
and invite
our
you to
fault.
come back and talk to us at any time. So if they want to get a hold of you, Matt, what's your website?
They can find it through mattbetts.com.
Okay,
Yeah, mine's timwagner.com, and Wagner is Waggoner.
2 G's.
Two
Two
G's.
and
I
an
always
O.
have to remember
2
that.
G's and an O.
There we go.
Isn't it?
Thank you very much. Stick around. We'll be we will be back with more as long as the zombies don't take over here from Seton Hill University.